Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Frankie, ready to talk to you about the top 6 crystals that I believe that you should have and why. We're also going to talk about picking your crystal, the programming your crystals, charging them, and some things that you need to watch out for. So first, let's get into crystal number 1. So crystal number 1 that I love is clear quartz. So, oh my gosh, this is like so gorgeous. Um, Clear quartz, the reason I recommend this is because it is a good stabilizer. So if you ever have a day or you just kind of feel like you're really unaligned, this is a good crystal to hold and to sort of like pass through your body and just like maneuver around your aura, and it'll really stabilize you. It's also, because of its clarity, it also promotes mental clarity. If you're just wanting to see something clearly or kind of uncloud your mind, this crystal is perfect to promote that. That is pretty much the gist. I got this crystal from a girl who is local. Her name, or her business name, is Aquarius Crystals and Gems. Definitely need to check her out because she has the most beautiful, some of the most beautiful crystals that I've ever seen. So that is clear quartz. Crystal number 2 is citrine. So citrine is what I call the stone of abundance. Sorry, I forgot that I had like these cute little quirky names for each stone. So for clear quartz, that would be the stone of clarity. Now we're moving into citrine, which I call the stone of abundance. Now, one thing that you need to be careful about with citrine is a lot of crystal shops, have you seen, actually sell fake citrine. So what that means is, if you've ever gone into a crystal shop and you've noticed like a stone that's a similar shape to this, but you've noticed that it's like a very dark brown color to it, what that is, and they sell it as citrine, what that is it's actually heat treated amethyst. So what they'll do is they'll put a stone like this that was pulled out of the earth, like, sorry, she's camera shy, pulled out of the earth like this, and they'll heat treat it so that it changes color, and it's already dark and purple, and that heat causes it to change that dark brown color, and they call it citrine. But don't buy that. It's fake citrine. Honestly, every time I see a crystal store that has fake citrine, I will not buy anything from them because it makes me question what they actually know about crystals and how it is that they're sourcing these crystals, like where they're coming from. So that's also things that are important to keep in mind. Your citrine should always look like this. It should be a bright yellow. The reason that you should have citrine, it helps you attract abundance into your life. It's a good money drawing stone. So I definitely would recommend either a large size or maybe even like the little pebbles inside that you can put inside of like a money drawing mojo bag or just keep in your pocket everywhere that you go. And it also is a good stone to keep around work. The reason that I carry this with me to work along with my clear quartz is because, along with being able to have that mental clarity throughout the day, citrine is also a great motivator. It motivates you to do work, it promotes creativity, it promotes brain function, so it really helps me maintain that energy throughout the day and perform so that I can also draw in money into my pocket. Oh, and lastly, it of course enhances creativity and also enhances concentration. So this is definitely a stone that you would want with you whenever you're really trying to like buckle down and get something done and get all of your to-do lists, everything on your to-do list crossed off. So again, that is citrine. Stone number 3. So this is the girl that was camera shy. This is amethyst. This was actually gifted to me from a friend. The reason I started working more with amethyst is because one, it promotes sobriety and also helps you cut out bad habits. Back when I was really, calling amethyst into my life and wanted to start working with its energy, I was really trying to make some lifestyle changes and cut out some bad habits and start doing more things that were good for me and for my health. So a friend gifted this to me because they knew that I wanted to work with that energy. It activates your third eye chakra. So a lot of tarot readers, a lot of people that rely on their intuition in their work or spiritual work, it's always good to have a amethyst with you. When I think of this stone and I see the color purple, it also reminds me of the herb lavender, because just like lavender, amethyst can promote stress relief. It's very soothing. If you've ever just really needed to have like that anxiety come down or like that restlessness come down, amethyst is a good stone. It also helps with dream work and remembering your dreams. So if you wanted to sleep with it under your pillow, you could do that too. So that is stone number 3 that I recommend. The next stone that I recommend is rose quartz. So rose quartz is a very light pink color to it. So just like its name, rose quartz heals the heart chakra. So if you're in an occupation where your heart chakra is impacted a lot, like for example, if you're a therapist or you're in service or you're constantly working with other people and maybe the issues that they have, that pulls on your heartstrings daily, it's always a good to have rose quartz with you because it helps unblock your heart chakra. It helps heal your heart chakra. This is a good stone to carry with you if you're trying to heal from a breakup or any type of emotional trauma or heartbreak that you've experienced. Another way that people recommend using it is to sleep with it under your pillow while you sleep, and just carry it with you, and it really helps heal that part of you. It's also a stone of self-love, unconditional love, and self-care. So if that's an energy that you want to focus on or want to work with, this is definitely the stone for it. Stone number 5 is obsidian. So I know he's not as grand as my other stones, but this is the little bit that I have because this is really all that you need. Obsidian, he is the stone of protection. So naturally, black is the color of protection and absorbing negative energy, and that's exactly what this stone does. If you're ever just like feel like you're going to go into a space where you need that additional protection, or there's going to be a lot of negative forces that you just really can't avoid, obsidian is definitely something that you want to have with you to protect you. And it also protects against psychic attacks. It's a good grounding stone if you're ever just needing like to be present and to be protected and just to kind of like center. This is a good stone to have. Sixth stone that I recommend is the also beautiful selenite. So selenite is actually a salt, which is something that we're going to kind of get into later when we talk about caring for your crystals. So selenite is a stone that is connected to angelic forces, spiritual forces. It is almost like, when I think of selenite, I think of heaven. To me, like, if heaven could be embodied in a stone here on earth, it would be this, because it surrounds you with this light. If you've ever just had like a really stressful day and you come home angry and you really just want to get in your zone and dive into a good book, I would always keep my selenite like on my lap or right next to me or touching me, because it just provides this like weightlessness around you, and it helps like stabilize and cleanse your aura. But just imagine being in like a white ball of light that's like warm and fuzzy and nothing can get inside that could bother you, and you just feel like this overwhelming sense of peace. That is selenite, and that is why it's one of the top stones that I recommend. Is a common way that you might see it too is like this, like typically at Home Goods or something like that, they'll have these selenite spheres, or these are called towers, and people will use this because it absorbs the energy and it kind of like shoots it out like a peak, or it centralizes it, and so that's why these selenites are very, very popular as well. So those are the top 6 crystals that I recommend and why. So now we're going to talk about how to pick your crystal. It's not enough to just go out to a store, grab the first quartz that you see, and just take it home with you. Take your time. When you're in the store, look at the quartz, look at their different personalities, and this is with all of the stones, look at their different personalities, look at the clarity in them, look at the inclusions in them. Do you see like a little bit of yourself in those crystals? And you'll see how you'll be more drawn to some crystals as opposed to others. For example, when I was looking for a citrine and I reached out to Aquarius Crystals and Gems because I knew that she had some, I really was on the market for a larger citrine. When she showed me the options and I saw this one thing that I was really drawn to was the inclusions that are in it. What I saw in this stone is somebody who is like a little shattered inside, you know, a little damaged, but still cute, still strong, still beautiful, and just radiating this light. These inclusions are reflecting the light right out and just showing like through damage, even though there's damage inside, the stone has like held itself together, and it's made it out into the world, and it's made it into my hands, and it's been polished so wonderfully and beautifully that it's now here with me, and I see a little bit of myself in this stone. So I want you guys to have that same type of energy when you're out looking for your stones. See how there's some that can relate to you and others. You should be able to see a stone and be like, this stone is for me. This is mine. It's calling me. I must take it home. That's how you should have that connection with all of the stones. So once you bring your crystals home, before you program it, make sure that you're cleansing your crystals. You can either pass them over smoke, over some sage, and smudge them. You can get yourself some of this stuff. This is called Florida Water Cologne. And what you can do is put some on your hands and or maybe sprinkle some on the stone and rub it. So when it comes to cleansing your crystals, you have to remember and be careful and make sure that you understand the makeup of the stone. So for example, selenite, like I mentioned before, it's actually a salt. So what happens to salt when you pour water on it or when you pour an alcohol-based cologne on it? It'll dissolve, right? So selenite, you definitely, if you can, want to stick to smudging. You can just place it in a bowl of salt, regular salt that you have in your kitchen, and that will also absorb it. But you don't want to put this in water. You don't want to pour anything liquid on top of it because it will dissolve, and you don't want to ruin something that's so beautiful like a selenite stone. You've cleansed your crystal, so now you need to program it. You have to tell it what to do, and you have to set intention. So if you buy a clear quartz, what I'll do is I'll sit with the quartz in my lap, and I'll say a prayer, and I'll meditate a little bit, and I'll talk to it, and I'll say, beautiful clear quartz, thank you so much for coming into my life. You are so beautiful. I bless and I activate you to bring me mental clarity, to stabilize me, to protect me, to help me see all sides of situations, to help me think clearly, to help me speak clearly, all of those intentions that you have, and you say those things and you pray, and you just visualize your stone, glowing with a ball of energy, and because you're setting that intention around it, and you just do that, and you just pray and pray and pray over and over and over until you intuitively feel like the stone is ready, programmed, and is ready to do what it needs to do. And you can just set it wherever it is that you want to set it. You can put it in your pocket, whatever, wherever it is you want to do. And you do that with each of the stones. So going into how to charge your crystals. So the main way that I charge my crystals, and a lot of us charge our crystals, is during the full moon. So what you can do is get your crystals, put them in a nice little basket, and set them out on the full moon. Overnight, the crystals absorb the light of the full moon, and it charges them. Is when you feel like going back to cleansing the crystals, if you're a broken heart girl or guy or whatever, and you're there holding your rose quartz every single night, and you're crying your eyes out, and you're healing your heart chakra, after maybe 7 days, you might want to pass it over some smoke, or you can even take it to a natural stream with running water and let it flow through the water, and just imagine that water just taking away all of that energy that the crystal has absorbed. You can also use the sun, put them out into the sunlight, and charge them that way. It doesn't necessarily have to be the full moon. It can just be a sun charge if you feel more comfortable working with the sun. Once you get into building your collection and exploring other stones, make sure that you're being careful with toxic stones. Yes, some crystals can be toxic and are toxic, and you need to be careful with how you handle them. For example, malachite. Malachite, if you look it up, it's like a green stone, looks like green lava, and it's really beautiful. It's actually a toxic stone. And what you don't want to do is you can hold it, that's fine. What you don't want to do is ingest it. A lot of times people will put crystals in their water, their drinking water, to charge their drinking water, which is fine. But you don't want to do that with malachite because those toxins will get released into the water and you will poison yourself and maybe die. I don't know. It's toxic. Don't do that. So you can handle it just like a normal stone, and if you do run it underwater, that's fine too. Just make sure you're not ingesting it. The last thing, if you start your crystal collection and people start questioning you, like, stones don't really have, like, for example, I had this geology teacher and I knew about stones already, and when I went into her class, she was like, oh, and by the way, I've never heard or known of crystals having some sort of healing property for you, so we're just not going to even get into that in this class. And honestly, like, I was kind of offended. I was like, actually, but I was like, no, like, you're in a world of muggles, like, don't even, you know, just because it's not scientifically proven doesn't mean that it's not true. Because it happens all the time where we've been saying things from the beginning of time and everybody kind of writes it off as like myth or superstition. But then once they actually do the research and it's proven, it all of a sudden becomes science. So for example, the Pepto-Bismol that you use to drink to settle your stomach is made or is made from a stone called bismuth. Bismuth is a freaking rock. So here, I'll pull this up. Maybe I can put it towards the screen. So it looks like this. So yeah, a crazy looking stone like that made Pepto-Bismol, and we drink it to settle our stomachs. So just keep that in mind if anybody ever tries to tell you, oh, like, stones don't have any healing properties, or oh, stones blah blah blah. It's like, actually, they do. Alright, my dears, well, that is all that I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good one.